Okay.
Go,
Our
go.
mission.
Sorry.
Helping Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at all Helping Parents Heal meetings is voluntary. All discussions that take place at affiliate-led meetings are confidential. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with our children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here, and thank you, Mark, for being here this evening.
Yes, thank
Pleasure.
you, Mark.
Thank you.
And I'm going to quick read your bio so that people know a little bit more about you, if that's okay. Mark Pitstick, MADC, is an author, master's clinical psychologist, holistic chiropractic physician, frequent media guest, and webinar workshop teacher. He directs the Soul Phone Foundation and founded Greater Reality Living Groups. His goal is to help you know and show, no matter what is going on around you, that this earthly experience is a totally safe, meaningful, and magnificent adventure amidst forever. Pre-birth planning. So this is what he's talking about. Did I really plan all of this? This is to recall why you as a soul may have chosen the possibilities of certain events, especially perplexing and challenging ones during this earthly experience. I am going to go ahead and turn this over to Mark to explain just a little bit more in depth. And I'd really love to have all of you join me in welcoming Dr. Mark Pitstick for this evening. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you very much. It's truly an honor and a sacred privilege because there's no doubt in my mind that you parents and other family members, siblings, and so on are brave, brave souls who volunteered to be in this kind of situation because you knew from your expanded perception before you came to Earth that this would give you so many benefits for growing, for helping others, making our world a better place. So I applaud you. It's truly an honor. I want to dedicate this presentation to a mom who attended the facilitated ADC session just 2 weeks ago. She emailed me the next day, we'll call it Jane, and she said, frankly, that morning of your presentation, I had decided to leave Earth, to pass on by suicide. Notice the language, by the way. I didn't say kill herself because you couldn't kill yourself if you tried. Your real self is eternal, immortal, infinite. But you can leave this earthly incarnation experience. And she said, I was all planned. I was starting to make steps to tidy up my accounts and so on. And she said, I attended your class and I felt hope and I had a glimpse of my son. And so I'm going to stay and I'd like to know how, what can I do? What help is there? Well, I immediately emailed Elizabeth, Irene, Dawn, Lynn, some of the giants. And contacted some of the caring listeners, her local affiliate leader, and within 24 hours, she had 4 people helping her. And just 2 days later, she emailed me and she said, I feel so much better. I no longer feel alone. I decided I'm going to stay and I'm going to help my son. I'm going to make my son proud of me. I'm going to find the blessings to this and share them. And we've been in touch a couple times a week, and it just continues her energy. So I mentioned this, first of all, to help you understand that a turnaround, a change, no matter how dark things seem, can be more rapid than you think, number one. Number two, how much help is available. So please don't suffer in silence, reach out. We're here. I mean, we've got the caring listeners, affiliate leaders, this angels from heaven board and top leaders. You know, we've got so many resources, so many. In fact, I had to turn away about 10 people who said, yeah, I'd like to help her. I said, sorry, you know, we've got people already. So anyway, you got that. The agenda for the evening, I'll do a brief overview of key points, whether you read the introductory article or not. I'll answer any questions about the session before we start. Then you'll want to take a quick bathroom break. If you have to go to the bathroom, get a drink of water, put some chapstick on, have Kleenex if you're emotional. Then we'll do the actual session, which will take about 30 minutes. This is a less deep version because I know it's the end of the day for some people, and I hate when I hear people snoring when I'm talking, and it happens more than you would think. And then afterwards, people can share their experiences or lack of, and then we'll answer questions and wrap up at 9:30. So some key points to remember. As Elizabeth said, pre-birth planning is a term that refers to the concept, hypothesis, indication that we as souls, before we come to Earth, indeed do some planning. And most of the evidence comes from this. For this comes from near-death experiencers and people who've had life between life sessions, which is based on the work by Michael Newton, author of Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. So there's some good clinical evidence for it. So just as you would plan a vacation or a trip, souls plan before they come to Earth. They want to reach their goals. And so, yeah, the obvious question is, well, why in the world would you plan the potential for a child passing on? And there are very good reasons for it. I don't want to talk about those now because I don't want to impact your experience. I want to see what you find on your own, but then I will share a couple of true cases afterwards, and we'll discuss some of the reasons. So a few things I want to emphasize: diaphragmatic breathing throughout this. I want you to breathe with your abdomen. When you breathe in, let your belly bulge out. It allows your diaphragm to drop down and your lungs to optimally inflate naturally, effortlessly. And when you exhale, you bring your belly in, raises your diaphragm up, expels the air from your lungs. The other thing is, and I'll mention this during the induction, the other thing is you want to we'll do the contraction relaxation, tensing and relaxing all the major muscle groups. Well, when you get to the face, I'll have you clench and then relax your jaw muscles, facial muscles. And then after that, you should let your mouth part open slightly, kind of like this. Now, nobody's going to see you, and because your videos will be off, so you don't have to worry about looking silly like I just did. But it's very important because if you're self-conscious and keep your mouth closed, then that requires your brain's energy to tense those muscles. And then that keeps you from perceiving the 99.9% of reality that the brain usually doesn't sense. I'll mention your heavenly support team, angels, guides, master teachers, soulmates. You can envision those however you like. They'll be with you when we do this session. So angel, as you can see, is 12 foot tall and big wings, or you can see them as beautiful colored energy, whatever works for you. Now, the place of the pre-birth planning has been described by different people in different ways. Basically, it's a place that allows you to quiet your brain, to feel peaceful, to feel loved, to feel safe. For me, when I do this, and I do this at least once a month now, is I envision myself in a magical nature setting where in front of me is the ocean, to one side is the desert, on the other side is a forest, and behind me mountains. I'm pretty sure nothing like that exists on Earth, but I just love it. There's so much power, so much chi, and you draw on that. Other people prefer a setting like on the control deck of Enterprise, Star Trek and Star Wars and that kind of thing, where you're the captain and you're looking over different scenarios and why did you choose what you choose. Some people like computer simulations, and the descriptions are that before we come to Earth, it's very much like that. You can fast forward and say, okay, if I choose these parents, how will that affect my progress versus these parents if I grew up in this city? So any of those work or whatever comes to you. Now, I don't want you to think of answers. Again, the big part of this is quieting your brain that thinks it knows everything, but really it doesn't know very much. It allows you to function on Earth. But again, much of reality, including good reasons why your kids passed and the fact that they're probably right beside you, the brain can't perceive usually. Some mediums can. And so I don't want you to think about answers like, well, what is my optimal setting for this? Just let it, the key words, hop in, float up. Think about a bubble at the bottom of a pond coming up through the water and then popping at the surface of the water. Pop in, float up. That's what you want. This will be a very similar induction process. That is what I have you envision and counting and all as 2 weeks ago. So if you're there for that, you're already familiar with it. So muscle contraction, relaxation. You want to use all of your senses as much as possible. So don't feel tied to my verbs. I use visual verbs a lot. See yourself doing this. But some people aren't very visually oriented. So for you, it may be that you hear what's going on. You know what is going on. You feel more kinesthetic. So whatever, as much as possible, use all of your senses, but certainly use your primary one. These experiences may seem more subtle, fleeting, even imaginary than the waking earthly consciousness. So just know that that's normal. So once you're deeply relaxed and you're experiencing, oh, this is why I chose this, and these are my goals, and my child and I did this together, the brain is going to be piping up perhaps and saying, how do you know that's really real? This could just be your imagination. So what I encourage you to say is, shut up, wait for 30 minutes, just sit on a shelf and you can analyze later. So just know that might happen. After the session, you may want to be quiet. Some people like to go within because it's fairly deep. Or you can ask questions and share your experience. If you are going to drive or operate heavy machinery afterwards, none of you look like heavy machinery operators. You want to be careful, be especially careful. I encourage journaling about dreams, and while awake, if you have any spontaneous insights, oftentimes information will come in for about a week after the session. And if you jot those down, again, whether that's in a vivid dream or something you think of, a spontaneous memory, then at the end of the week, you've got a lot more information than you'll have at just what came in this evening. It's good to share your experience with trusted dear ones. It makes it more real. It helps you internalize it and to write down your experience because it's fairly common when people have spiritually transformative experiences like this likely will be for you. That a year later, if you don't share it or write it down, you're like, did that really happen? Oh, I just could have just been making that up, something like that. Before the session, again, for the break, water, tissues, chapstick, bathroom. You want to turn any electronics off, your phone, any pagers, beepers, this, give yourself 30 minutes without interruption. If there's someone else in the living space where you are, tell them you're going to be doing a deep relaxation guided imagery technique and ask them to please not interrupt you. And even pets, some people like a pet on their lap, but really that can be distracting. You don't want anything that distracts you from opening your mind, perceiving more of what is. So, put them somewhere else for a while. And again, after the session, people can share and I'll answer any questions. So there's a quick description. Any questions or concerns about the session before we start? And Elizabeth, you could tell them how to be noticed.
Yeah, you can put any questions in the chat if you have any before we do the session.
Or is there a way for them to raise their hand so we can actually hear it, since typing can take a little while, not as clear as speaking? So again, any questions, any concerns before we start the session?
Looks to me like everybody is ready to go, Mark. I think they all trust you. And I think they realize it's going to be different from anything that they've ever experienced, but probably they'll have questions once you've done the session. So I'm excited to get started.
Okay, well, I want to, just want to give a couple minutes, like I mentioned, because somebody else say, oh, I just realized I kind of have to go to the bathroom, and you don't want to hold it for 30 minutes. That's not very conducive to deep relaxation. While we're just waiting that quick 2 minutes, I will share that on my website, soulproof.com, SOUL-proof.com, there are lots of free products for you. 109 now free articles. Radio shows, 20 or 25 radio shows where I interview people like Wayne Dyer and Raymond Moody and Anita Moorjani and Carolyn Mace. I mean, just Dr. Gary Schwartz. I mean, just the top minds in consciousness and practical spirituality. So if you go to soulproof.com, a top tab says radio shows, and you can listen to those free, and then free newsletters. So avail yourself of these, please. And then also I have 7 books. Now, I'm not advertising, you'll find out in a moment. 7 books and 11 audio products. And what we're about to do, pre-birth planning, is one of those. And so visit, that's under shop. Each one has a description of what it's about so that you can, these are the resources I created and they're super inexpensive. However, if for whatever reason you can't afford it, like this mom 2 weeks ago, that was part of her request. And I sent her all kinds of free products. So if you can't afford it, I'll send digital products to you free. I mean, that's how little this is about money. So, okay.
And one other thing, if I could just say very quickly, for all of you who get the newsletter, obviously Mark also writes a column in the newsletter every single month. So that's also has so much wonderful knowledge and helping information. So all of those newsletters are housed on our Helping Parents Heal website. So you can go back and he answers the most difficult questions that parents write to him each month. And so they're very healing for a lot of other parents, as well as for the parents that have written in. So make sure that you do take a look at his column every month.
Thank you. And also, if you don't have time to have your questions answered at the end of today, or if it's not something you want to ask in public, email me. It's on my website, mark@soulproof.com. And I have people say, well, how can you do that? Well, because I have all those resources. And I'm not going to write you a long letter. I'm going to say, read these articles, use this technique, and I literally in 5 minutes, I have templates I use. In 5 minutes, I can convey so much information remind you about the caring listeners, attend the meetings, and so on. So I'm glad to do that. It's among the most important things in my life, besides trying to grow hair. All right, are we ready to get started?
I think so. It looks like everybody's ready. So do you want everyone to turn off their video?
Yes, yeah, let's mute everyone and block video, and that way no one is self-conscious about how they look with their mouth hanging open. So let's begin by sitting up is optimal, because if you're lying flat, there's a good chance you may fall asleep. So let's have you sit up straight in a comfortable way with your eyes closed, focusing on my voice. And let's start with just a few slow, deep, diaphragmatic breathing breaths. Again, letting your abdomen bulge out when you breathe in. And then when you exhale, pull your stomach muscles in. And if you're not used to this, you can put your hand on your abdomen and feel that. Abdomen out, breathe in, abdomen in as you exhale. Good. Now let's begin by alternately contracting and relaxing major muscle groups, starting with your feet and moving to your face. And first, take a deep breath in and tense the muscles in your feet and legs. Hold them tight. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And as you exhale, let those muscles relax. Now the muscles of the buttocks and thighs. Take a deep breath in and tighten your muscles in your buttocks and thighs. Hold it. Notice how unnatural and comfortable that tension feels, and how good it feels to let those muscles go heavy, warm, limp. Now the muscles of the abdomen and low back. Take a deep breath in and tense those muscles as if someone was going to punch you in the stomach. Tense those muscles, hold it, and let them relax. Now the muscles of the chest and upper back. Take a deep breath in and tense up those muscles, holding your breath, tightening those muscles, and then noticing how good it feels to let them relax. Now the muscles of the hands and arms. Take a deep breath in and clench both your fists. Tense all the muscles in your hands and arms. Hold it, hold that tension, and then let them drop. Feeling the warmth and relaxation flow throughout your body. Next, the shoulder muscles, the upper traps, where so many people hold tension. Take a deep breath in and raise your shoulders up towards your ears. Tense those muscles up. Feel that tension and let them drop and relax. Now the muscles of the jaw. Take a deep breath in and clench your teeth together. Tighten those muscles all around the mouth and jaw. Hold it, and let them relax. And let your mouth part open slightly as you continue to breathe slowly and deeply through the remainder of the session. Now the muscles around the eyes. Take a deep breath in and squeeze your eyes together as if someone is trying to poke you in the eye. Squeeze those muscles, feel the tension around the eyes, and let them drop and go heavy. And finally, the forehead muscles. Take a deep breath in and raise your eyebrows up toward your hairline. Squinch up those forehead muscles. Hold it, and let them drop and relax. Good. Now take a moment, please, and survey your body. And if there are any areas that seem to have residual tension, simply tense and relax those on your own. Now picture, imagine, visualize, know as clearly as you can yourself standing at the top of a staircase. I'm going to count from 10 to 1, and with each count, let yourself slowly, safely sense stepping down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Standing now before an ornately decorated door. And you know this door represents a gateway to an even more deeply relaxed state. One that will quiet your brain and allow you to access more of reality, the big picture of life, than you normally do. With my count from 3 to 1, see yourself opening the door easily and stepping through. 3, 2, 1. On the other side now, and finding a path. Beautiful setting in the woods, sunlight coming down, feeling that on your skin, rustle of breeze, hearing birds chirp, feeling so good, so peaceful, so relaxed. And you find yourself walking along this path, knowing that it's taking you to a good place, a safe place, and that you are watched over and protected more than you can imagine. And as you continue to walk, you hear a babbling brook ahead of you, a shallow stream. And as you grow near, you feel the moistness of the air on your skin. See yourself now standing by the stream with a bridge in front of you, a small bridge crossing from one side to the other. And with my count from 10 to 1, see yourself slowly, safely walking across it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Standing now before a beautiful veil, a white translucent veil that extends as far from one side to the other and as high as you can see. And you know this veil represents a portal, a gateway to a place where you'll be able to consider pre-birth planning and understand more about just how wonderfully life is set up, even when a child passes. With my count from 3 to 1, see yourself stepping up to the veil, finding an opening and slipping through. 3, 2, 1. Seeing a beautifully manicured grounds now with large trees and stately buildings, Greek, Roman architecture in the background. Find yourself instantly transported in front of the optimal building for you, what some people call the Hall of Truth, a place where souls will gather to learn important information and to remember what they know, no matter what's going on around them. And as you approach the Hall of Truth, you find yourself greeted by your loved ones, angels, guides, master teachers, soulmates. See them sending you love, unconditional regard, and sending you a healing shower, giving you just what you need to have an optimal experience this evening. If you're fatigued, energy. If you're a little scared, peace and relaxation. So take a moment and enjoy time with these dear ones who have known you from the beginning of time. You're doing great. And now see you and they walking into the hall and being seated in a specially fitted chair with them literally all around you. This chair has a screen in front of it so that you can see any cues, symbols, information you need. Special speakers so you can hear anything you need to remember. And sense transducers so you can feel and know the truth more and more. Now, in this wonderful setting, consider an aspect of your life that you would like to explore, but be open to what pops in. After I count from 5 to 1, allow meaningful responses to float up during the short periods of silence. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First, sense yourself in the place of pre-birth planning. We talked about some possibilities, but just see how this appears to you. And if you can't visualize anything, focus on knowing you're in this place or feeling that. And take a few moments to immerse yourself again in this place of pre-birth planning with your spiritual support team around you. Good. As you become more comfortable in this place of pre-birth planning, again, could be a nature setting in front of a computer, however you like to visualize, the perfect place for you this evening to consider several aspects of your life. If there is pre-birth planning, if so, why? And most importantly, how can you use that information to improve your here and now, to make your kids proud, to fulfill the reasons for this planning? Now I'm going to ask a series of questions to guide you through this experience. So find a comfortable place in this pre-birth planning area so you can have optimal clarity about the following questions. First, be even more clear about what is this place of pre-birth planning like. Become comfortable with it so you can return to it in the future and do further exploring. Notice how you feel. Do you feel like you're home Is this a familiar place? Or is it a little scary, a little nervous about it? However you're feeling is just fine. Next, consider who is helping you during this planning. Are there angels, guides, soulmates, including your child or not? And if they're on earth or were, what is their relationship to you? Again, just take a minute or two to be more aware of all that. Good. Next, for the event aspect of your life that you're considering, why might you have chosen the possibility of that aspect in your life? What was the thinking from a soul perspective? Now let's zoom in a bit more on this ultra important question. What was the goal for benefiting you and others? What was the thinking? What was the plan that, although from an earthly perspective seems horrible, from a greater reality perspective could result in many silver linings and blessings? And now, perhaps the most important question that can be asked: how did that planning, or how can that planning and what happened, help you and others in the here and now? Be as specific as you can. That will help you find more meaning to this apparent senseless tragedy. You're doing great. Now take a few moments for any final insights and guidance from your real self or your higher energy assistants about this aspect of your life. Just let it float up, pop in. Good. Now see yourself back in the Hall of Truth with your soulmates, angels, guides. Pat yourself on the back for doing this exploring, for stretching your understanding about the nature of life. And sense them sending you another healing shower, washing away any lower energy emotions, sadness, hopelessness, anger, blame, etc., and filling you with higher energy ones: peace, love, hope, joy, gratitude. Just another moment of slow, deep breathing, getting just what you need from this healing shower for your second pre-birth planning visit. Good. Now consider another aspect of your life. It could be the same one that you just did and go more deeply, or it could be a different aspect of your life, something that happened, some event, especially a difficult one that you'd like to explore. After I count from 5 to 1, allow meaningful responses to float up during the silence. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sense yourself again in the place of pre-birth planning. It could appear as it did before or differently. And take a few moments to get oriented in this place. Find a comfortable spot and let yourself have optimal clarity about the following questions. Who is helping you during the planning for this one? See them any way you like, and be aware of what is their relationship to you now, even if they've moved on from Earth School. Good. Now consider, why did you choose the possibility of that aspect in your life? What was the thinking? What were the blessings, the good things that you knew could come from it? Even though from an earthly standpoint, it's nothing you would ever choose. Good. And now go more deeply on that one. What are specific silver linings, blessings that you hoped to fulfill by pre-planning this part of your life? And the last question, what can you do now to internalize this, to more deeply know and show what you've learned in your life here and now? Good. Now take a few more moments for any final insights and to sense assistance and guidance from all around you for your toughest challenges. And now, before we wrap up this session for the evening, sense yourself back in the Hall of Truth, And as before, receiving a healing shower, literally washing away lower energy emotions that don't serve you. Excess sadness, self-blame, anger, hopelessness, and literally filling you with higher energy ones, where you want to go, where you want to be more and more. Peace, joy, love, gratitude, enlightenment. Soak this up as you prepare to come back slowly to the waking state. Remember that you'll have access to this video, so you can use it anytime you like to consider other aspects of your life, or the same ones more deeply. But for now, let's begin to come back to the waking state slowly, safely, as I count from 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3. Feeling the clothes on your body. 4, wiggling your toes and fingers a bit. And 5, when you're ready, opening your eyes. And while you are getting your senses back, your wits back, I'll share 2 real life cases with this. One, a father who was, because of an auto accident, partially responsible for his child's passing, realized after doing this session that he, as a soul, tended to stay asleep during an earthly visit. When I trained with Dr. Brian Weiss to do past life regressions, he said that from what he knows, there is a long list of souls waiting to come to a place like Earth, because difficult as it is, as we mentioned, it's so pregnant with opportunities for service and growth. And so, it's ironic that a soul would wait in line. Oh, I can't wait to get to Earth. There's all these great plans I have, and then snooze to it, or watch 7 hours of reality TV a day. And then they're at the moment of passing, like, well, I guess I forgot to focus on the important things. So this dad said, in a way, it's my fault. I mean, if you're going to think like that, but he said, my son did it out of love, because he knew the great news that's listed at the beginning of all my articles. No one really dies. This time on Earth is a blink of an eye in the span of eternity. We're each one with the one, sacredly interconnected. We love adventures. I mean, what are souls going to do for eternity? Sit around and, play harps and walk on golden streets like we were taught when I was a kid. I get boring after a while. So we like adventures, and especially knowing the nature of reality, we can do that. And the other one, this actually happened at the first HPH conference during a facilitated ADC session. And she came up and told me afterwards, and I was flabbergasted, if I can use that word. And basically what happened was, so she's sitting there waiting for a visit from her daughter, and who she saw was this man. And this man, she said, she looked into his eyes, and what she saw was profound sadness and love. And in that moment, she realized that he was the man who was the hit and run driver that killed the body of her daughter. Again, notice that conscious language. He didn't kill her daughter. You know, can't happen. He killed the body of her daughter. And she further realized in this deep, deep state of seeing more of life that they were all soulmates. And again, it was her tendency to remain stuck in spiritual amnesia. And so this was designed so that if she looked like she's going to do it again, something horrible would happen. She knew it could make her better or bitter. It could destroy her or it could wake her up. In this case, it woke her up. This woman had started a foundation. She was doing numerous outreaches to help other people. And again, her daughter and this man were willing to participate in this scenario for the wonderful eternal benefits that flowed from this. So that just gives you an idea of some of the insights that can come, and tremendously healing and transformative insights. So with that, I wonder if anyone would like to share what they did or did not experience this evening.
You can write in the chat box, or you can lift your hand. And if you don't know how to lift your hand, because I know that Mark is willing to go ahead and just call on you, just go to the reactions at the bottom. And then there's a place that you raise a hand right at the bottom there. So I see that Debbie's raising her hand. Mark, is it okay if I ask her to unmute?
Please, I would always rather see and hear a person, lots better communication.
Okay, here she is.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I came on late. I apologize for that. It's a tough day. It's a year ago that my mom passed, and I cared for her for 10 months. I did lose my son, and while I joined you in meditation and going back, I felt the man who murdered my son. I pray for forgiveness for him. I don't know. I have an idea of the state of mind he was in, but I believe this was predestined. I do believe this was predestined. And I believe there's a purpose. And I know that my son was not meant to be here for any more of the time than he was. And I'm just really grateful that I'm here right now. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. I wish I would have had you teach the class. You just said 30 seconds better than I put it. Thank you. And way to be so strong. And I'm curious, if you don't mind sharing. So as you realize that more, that things were perhaps set up, the possibility that your son passed at just the right time, not from what we expect, but from a cosmic view. Does that help you get through the day and grow from this?
Absolutely. It gives me a sense of peace, because I struggled. I had stress with my son for so many years. And the day he passed, my stress went away, but then I got pain. I don't know how that happens. I do know how that happens. One was replaced by the other, but I feel that he is in such a place that is loving. And I think about going to see this man that did this, my son put himself into a place. And I'm going to say that honestly. But I think about going to see this man to forgive him. And I don't know why I feel the need to do that, but I do.
Well, that would be powerful. However, there's a you don't necessarily have to see him in person. You realize that consciousness is non-local. And
yeah, and I just, as long as I can pray, and I think it's more for me than it is for him, I do. I believe it's more for me that I can pray for him and forgive him so I can let go.
Good for you. There's a article on my, one of the articles, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's called the Love, Acceptance, and Forgiveness Technique, LAF for short, LAF. And then there's a audio program where you can get deeply relaxed, and maybe we should do this in the future, get deeply relaxed and establish that love, acceptance, forgiveness with this man, with yourself, and any other. So, well, I applaud and salute how you're doing. Super job. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That's wonderful. Debbie, thanks for coming on. And I'm going to remove the spotlight. If anybody wants to be able to write in the chat box, it looks like Anna is writing in the chat box, and I'm not sure if you wanted to say something, you're welcome to. If not, you know, you could either just let me know if you'd like for us to unmute you, Anna. It's always wonderful to hear what you have to say, if you had any experiences during this. Sabina, if we are not to remember pre-birth planning and soul plans, doesn't trying to figure out soul plans defeat the purpose, as we are meant to learn from our experiences without knowledge of our soul plans? So right after we answer this, we'll go back to Anna. So could you answer that for us, Mark?
Sure. And then Kathy raised her hand as well. Yeah, that question gets asked like as if knowing a little more about the nature of life would make this easy. So I say, Creator wants us to know more. You know, we're not supposed to live in ignorance or darkness. And so anyone who's more enlightened, who understands more about how life is set up, they still experience sadness and tough times. However, two things: it lessens the intensity of it, and it shortens the duration of the deep grieving. So it doesn't take all away. And if, by the way, there is something that you're not supposed to learn now because it would negate important soul lessons, then you won't learn it.
That's very interesting, and I'm sure that's true. So Anna, I see Kathy took her hand down, but we'll come back to Kathy, but Anna said sure. So let's see, Irene, could you
Sure.
I
Let me
see
find
her.
her.
I see her. I found her, I think.
I asked her to unmute.
Oh, you did too. Okay, we both did. So you're unmuted. Come on down, Anna.
Hi, Anna.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for this. I was so touched by Debbie's words, and I know for a fact that this meditation has really assured me, like you said, Mark, it's almost like a knowing. It's almost like this. It's so much not a feeling, but it's almost sort of like a knowing that my two boys are in heaven, or if you want to call it in heaven. I wanted to call that as they are together. I want to call that as they had this planned, and precisely for knowledge, precisely for closeness, to the more of knowing, like you said. I mean, you assured this concept of wanting to know more of the soul plan, and it's an assurance that they are together, and it's an assurance that this was meant to be, and this is an assurance that this is my path. And it's every time, the more I know, the more I learn, the more I feel that I'm more caressed with this beauty, you know.
Beautiful.
And there is the sense of ultimately feeling the joy of your day.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
freezing up a
thank
little, but thank you very much for that. And you bring up some good points. One of the reasons I went to theology school was because it didn't make any sense to me that God would put suffering on people. You know, maybe some of you heard when your child passed, well, it's God's will. And I thought, well, God is a giant, fill in the blank then. But when we understand that we as souls choose this, everyone involved, not just the person, but the cast and crew in this play that's going on, we realize we chose it and for good reasons, even though it doesn't always work out. We learn from the quote failures. Then that makes a whole lot more sense in a equitable and loving universe.
Thank you, Anna. I'm going to go ahead and remove the spotlight and then move to, let's see, Kathy. Can we find Kathy who wanted to say something? So I'm asking you to unmute. Thank you, Anna.
Oh, I just wanted to thank you all and thank you, Dr. Pitstick. I look forward to your newsletter. It's so uplifting. I just allowed the situation to happen, and my parents, my couple of cousins and my son were there, and things came in flashes. I don't know if you'd call it a download, but I wanted to know why such a difficult life. My father was not an easy man. In fact, he was violent, but we came together and later in life, and I took care of him until he passed. But I wanted to know why that challenge and why the challenge with my son leaving. And what I kept hearing was, it's the hero's journey. It's the hero's journey, that self-love. And then and I got a few other downloads that were very important. And then when they were all standing around me in the hall, I got a lot of warmth, and I felt like they were all around me, hugging me. I've been feeling a lot of loneliness lately, and I don't now. Thank you.
Yeah, we couldn't be alone if we wanted to. Yeah, you are surrounded. And two things. You mentioned the flashes, and the download is the perfect word. In fact, that's part of the article, but I didn't take the time to describe it. But you did very well. Yes, your experience can come in a flash, like a half a second, or it could play out in normal chronological earthly time. The other thing is, you mentioned the hero's journey. And so for those of you who don't understand the reference, that's a book by Joseph Campbell, one of my favorite teachers. And he does such a beautiful job of helping explain why souls would choose the probability of suffering and pain and quote loss and all that heartbreak. And it is because that's what makes us grow. Again, Dr. Brian Weiss, he said that people who come to earth, it has to be somebody that has a perfect, easy life. They call that a rest incarnation. Nothing really is achieved. Whereas brave souls, and that's why I saluted all of you in the beginning, like, lay it on us. We're into this. We want to grow. We want to serve others. And it's true. We're just like adventurers, heroes, and heroines. And Joseph Campbell said that's one of the reasons why so many people on earth like action shows and books and movies, because we relate to that, because that's really what we're doing. That's why. And again, it's just the blink of an eye. And this time on earth may be only one of multiple places our life force is manifesting. So when you remember all that, the big picture, like, piece of cake, I got this. I'm going to turn this into a journey. So it's an honor. Way to be.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm so glad to see you. And also, Linda is saying, I think understanding what might be a part of my soul to lose my child would give me some comfort that I desperately need. I miss my son so much, and life holds no meaning anymore. I think we wouldn't be brought to this topic if we weren't supposed to know about soul planning. So, Linda, did you want to explain that a little bit more to Mark? Would you like to speak to Mark? Or do you want to just, or Mark, would you like to?
I
say-
asked her to unmute. We'll see if she wants to. Hi, Linda.
Hi. Yeah, I had a typo in there. Sorry. It's hard typing in that little thing. I guess I wasn't I didn't get what the soul plan was, but I'm going to listen to this again later and maybe buy the thing and listen to it. And I was kind of responding to someone else in the chat that was saying that maybe we shouldn't be knowing what the soul plan is if that's part of our lesson. So I'm kind of saying, for me, I don't think I would have been brought to this topic over and over again. You know, I've listened to a lot of stuff on YouTube, you know, about this topic. So for me, I want to know more. And it's just, none of it makes sense to me about losing my son, because I feel like my life was already a struggle before. So was I supposed to learn something? I had unconditional love for my son. My son had unconditional love for me. So were we supposed to learn about love? Because then we did. And then so it doesn't make sense to me, because I was doing a lot of this stuff already. I had studied like a lot of the psychic and mediumship years ago. So for me, I can't understand what I would be learning from this, except being miserable, missing my son. So
Yeah, well, you can bet that's not the reason.
Oh, God.
So a couple things. First of all, you know, several of you used the word losing, and so I lovingly and respectfully encourage other words, because we don't want to continue using words that misrepresent reality. So you can't lose your son or daughter. You know, they can graduate from Earth School, they can change worlds, they can drop their body, but you can't lose them. So is that your son in the photo?
Yes, that's him. Yeah, he was 24. He was an organic gardener, so he's holding a giant organic cauliflower. It's a flower.
Wow.
Very sweet, very, very, very sweet boy.
Oh, what a wonderful photo. So email me, please, and I will send you, just like I mentioned before, I'll take 5 minutes and send you a customized list. Okay, here's where you're at. Because nobody knows these articles and products like me. And I can just say this, this, this. And then I'll say, do this for 90 days, and including, of course, use the caring listeners, attend the meetings and all that, but specific things you can do that zero in on your particular challenge. And then let me know how you're doing at 60 to 90 days, and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Wonderful. So let's see. Yelena is saying, first part of meditation was very vivid. I've been to this place before. I've seen this beautiful place when I visited my son in my dreams. Second part was blurry. I was covered in a white fog. I did see a little girl coming in and out of this fog, but couldn't make much sense of it. Would you like to maybe speak to Yelena if that would be okay with Yelena? Is that okay with you? Where are you? Let's see. I'm trying to.
I asked her to unmute, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Irene.
Sure.
Hello.
Hi, Elena.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Mark. Thank you so much it was amazing experience. And I know I've been to this place before with my son. He took me there.
Wow.
I've seen this place. I've seen this beautiful palace. It was a long path, was an arches. And he showed me there. He said, "Mom, you need to go." And then he walked me back. But this time, the first part, it was very vivid. I saw very clearly a man wearing old English outfit. And then when we came to the second part, it was all blurry. I was covered in fog. there was a little girl coming in and out of this fog, but I couldn't make sense of it. I wouldn't understand.
Well, that sounds like a good start, and that's really cool that you have seen this place before in dreams. Kudos for your son on that. So like anything, practice makes perfect. And so just use it again, set the intention, say a prayer that you'll gain more clarity about the little girl or the man in the proper dress, and just let it unfold. And again, make notes about this one so that perhaps after several sessions, in addition, dreams and so on, you've got a bigger picture. One analogy is that the average human is looking at life through a tiny pinhole and then wonders why things don't make sense. So if you can enlarge that to a quarter size or a silver dollar size, then you see more of the picture, and then you go, aha.
Okay, also I wanted to ask you, was that normal? My head kept spinning against the clock. It kept just spinning and spinning, and I couldn't stop it. Is it normal?
And did you say your head was spinning or
Yeah.
what?
My head, yeah.
And did you feel physically dizzy in any way?
It was like this. Like this.
Was your head actually moving or felt like it?
Yeah. No, actually moving, physically moving.
Okay, well, that to me, my first intuition is that was so much energy that it was a little more than you could handle this time around. So, you want to be seated, sitting up straight, and you don't want to let your head move any. But make sure you read the article. There's a whole list of things you can do before the session to have a more optimal session. Be rested, don't drink caffeine, etc. So cover those bases and then see if you have a better experience. And drop me a line, please, and let me know.
Okay, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Take care.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you too. It's always fun to see all these people who were at the conference too. But anyway, this has been wonderful, Mark. And maybe you have some words of wisdom and things that people should do. So is this something that they could do every week, every few days, or tell us about the use of this moving forward, because we'll have this recording now.
Yeah, once or twice a week would be optimal, depending on how much time you have and your goals. And by the way, to the last question, another thing that people can do if they don't have a good visit is use the holistic breathing technique. I was going to mention that, right? And because that's so powerful. Again, holistic breathing technique, 40 minutes of, and I use that once or twice a month myself, even though I've been doing it for 20 years, because that's such a powerful way to release old wounds, which we've all had, needless fears, which, joke's on us, it turns out all fears are needless. And then past limiting teachings that we learn from our culture, our family, and church, and so on. So the net effect of all is getting more clear, and then you're able to better have success with sessions like facilitated ADC or this pre-birth planning one.
Wonderful. So before we sign off, and I just want to say that Mark is coming back to do another session. Could you explain what that's going to be? It's going to be in a couple of weeks, actually.
I think it's Ask Your Soul, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's this is fascinating clinically. So I mentioned I was doing past life regressions training with Brian Weiss. So I had this client, and this is what I was doing them in person one-on-one. And her goal was to find out why she was blocked from good, loving relationships. And so I did all the technique and nothing. She's like, all I see is darkness. Her eyes are closed. I don't see anything. I just see darkness. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know what to do. It never happened before. And then I said, well, I just, let's go more deeply and see if anything pops up. And all of a sudden, her brow furrowed, kind of like you see people on Star Trek, aliens, and her voice changed. And she said, she knows what the answers are. She's just not ready to know them yet. And I was like, okay, do I run out of the room now? You know, because I'm remembering The Exorcist and some other movies I've watched. But I had enough presence to say, okay, well, thank you for that. Who am I speaking with? And she said, I am her soul. She just isn't ready to face some of this yet. And I said, okay, her soul. Well, while we're here. And so then I went ahead and had this session with her soul. And so then I got done. I'm like, oh my God, I think I discovered a new technique, which I called Ask Your Soul. And it's the same sort of deep induction, deep relaxation / hypnosis. So the person can then ask their inner self, but also the light and their spiritual support team. And I have a series of 10 different questions that I ask. How can you deepen your spiritual path? How can you expand your prosperity, have loving relationships, improve your health? The ones people most commonly ask, and there are a couple fill in the blank ones. And so the very first time I went out and did this, it was in an expo, and like 80 people in the room. And afterwards, this guy in a wheelchair wheels up to me, and he said, he's got tears running down his cheeks. And he said, I've been in this chair for 20 years. I just want to tell you that session answered more questions I've wondered about since my accident than anything I've done. And I said, I think we have a winner here. So yeah, join us. It's very, very powerful.
Well, we're looking forward to it. And for this evening, I know that everyone's going to want to unmute and say thank you and good evening. So if you all would like to do so, please do.
I
And
am
thank
Thanks,
so
Mark.
great. Feel so good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
Beautiful presentation. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Good night, everybody.